Hello everybody, welcome back to Creating Hanley. I am Kimberly at Creating Hanley, and you can see these little teeny tiny patches right here. This is a 9 patch. Look how tiny this is. This is a 9 patch. Where's I don't have a ruler with me right at the moment. Let's see, this makes a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. It makes about a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 patch right here. These two are the same size. But let's take a look. So this unit right here is 1 1/4 inch square, 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, and I know that because I used this to cut it. So what I did was I took some painter's tape and I measured out a quarter. You can see right at that 1 1/4 inch line right there. And then I did the same thing down here, 1 1/4 inch line. And I just took my painter's tape across that. And then I put the fabric underneath it, lined it up on these edges, trim, spin it around, make sure everything is trim, square it up. And then I know that each of these little teeny tiny squares is 1 1/4 inch. So all of these squares are uniform. All of these squares are uniform. They should be, well, at least pretty darn close to the same 1 1/4 inch size. Now you can see what I did here. I sewed these together so you can see the size difference. So this is all, spread out and, in a line and perfectly lined up. But when you sew them together with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, you can see how tiny these seams are. I did not use a 1/4 inch because I wanted each block to come out to 1 inch square. So each of these blocks, when they are sewn in, they are going to be 1 inch square. So that stays pretty uniform. Yep, 1 inch square. Hopefully you can see that right there. 1 inch square. Okay. So each of these are going to be 1 inch square. When you sew 36 of these 1 1/4 inch squares with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, the whole block shrinks down to 6 inches, and that is untrimmed. So hopefully you don't have a whole lot extra to trim off, but it should be 6 inches. Now this one I did not sew very well, even though I sewed this 3 times. It didn't really catch. So I'm going to have to fix that somehow without screwing up the patch too much. That will cause a wrinkle. It'll cause like a little buckle. So hopefully it won't be too bad. Hopefully. All right. Okay. Anyway. So you can see I created 2 of these. Now, if I explode this out, I take this 9 patch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a 9 patch. I will create a unit with that. It'll look like this. It'll shrink down to this, and it'll look like that. And then I have another 9 patch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a 9 patch. It comes down to this unit, this size unit, and then you have 4 of these. So you take 36 1 1/4 inch squares, sew them together. So 9 little pieces into a unit, it becomes this. So do that 4 times, and then you have 4 patches. So you put a 9 patch into a unit, it becomes 1 unit, and then you do that 4 times, now you have a 4 patch. So you take 9 units, you make a patch. It becomes this 9 patch, and then you have 4 of these, it becomes a unit. You have 4 of these becomes a unit. So now you have a 4 patch to put together. So you take 9 squares, make a 4 patch, and then you have 1 6 inch block. I know it's a lot. Okay? So let's take it down to the machine. So I already did some of this off. Well, I did it in a previous video, but I'm not sure if I'm going to post that video yet. So I don't know. Yet. But anyway, let's shut this off to the side. Let's bring this one up front and center. So I'm going to place this face side down line up this edge. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm sorry, not 1/4. 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. 1/8 inch seam allowance. And I'm not sure I'm catching the fabric there. Let's see what just happened. Nope, something happened. It's not working. All right. Okay, let's do a test piece. That did work. All right. 1/8 of an inch. And again, face side down. 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now you have 0 room for error. You have no room for mistakes. So make sure everything is lined up the way you want it. With a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you do have a little bit of room for error, but with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, you don't have any room for error. So you want to make sure that everything is lined up as perfectly as you want it to be. Okay, now I am going to iron these. So you can see this seam allowance is super small, right? So take it over to the ironing surface, iron this open. And I kind of forget how this was. I think it was like this. No, I think it was like this. I'm only hesitating because I kind of did have it in a specific order. All right. So, anyway, you guys get that, right? Put those 4 patches together, and then you create a patch. You create your 6-inch patch. Now, when you get it to this way, if you want to square these up, feel free. So you see how this is a little bit bowed up here at the top? Maybe square up your patch before you put it into your finished product, right? All right, guys, this is where I'm going to end right here because I'm kind of screwing myself up a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So, all right. Yes, I'm going to stop here before I make a mess. All right. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.